It was an unusually quiet Saturday morning in our neighborhood. The kind of morning where you can hear the sprinklers clicking and birds chattering in the trees. I was halfway through folding laundry when I heard a sharp, insistent knock at the door. Not the friendly, quick kind of knock that neighbors use, but a rhythmic pounding, entitled, demanding. I peeked through the peephole and saw her, Karen. Every neighborhood has one, and ours was no exception. Perfectly coiffed hair, oversized sunglasses, clipboard in hand, and that permanent scowl that seemed to come with her position as self-appointed neighborhood enforcer. I wasn't in the mood for her antics. She'd already complained twice about the color of our mailbox and once about my son's skateboard ramp being unsightly. I decided to wait her out, hoping she'd go away. But she didn't. Instead, she shouted through the door, "Hello. This is Karen from the HOA. I need to speak with you about a community violation." That's when I realized something odd. Our HOA president wasn't named Karen, it was Mark, and he didn't do home visits. My husband and I had even confirmed that the HOA never sent anyone without written notice. Still, I stayed quiet, frozen in place. She knocked again, harder this time, and muttered something under her breath about people with no respect for the rules. I texted my husband, who was out buying groceries, and told him Karen was at the door. He replied immediately, "Don't open it. She has no authority to just show up." Just as I was debating whether to tell her to leave, my 10-year-old son, Ethan, came bounding down the hallway. "Mom, someone's at the door," he asked innocently. I whispered, "Don't open it." But before I could stop him, he turned the knob. Karen's eyes widened when the door swung open. "Oh, there you are," she said, plastering on a fake smile. "The HOA let me in. I just needed to discuss your landscaping violations." Ethan blinked. "You mean the HOA from across the street?" "Because my dad's in it, and he said no one was coming." Her smile faltered. "Ah, yes, well, he must not have been updated." That's when I stepped forward, arms crossed. "Really, Karen? The HOA let you in?" She hesitated, clutching her clipboard tighter. "Of course. I'm authorized." But Ethan's innocent honesty had already cracked her story wide open. What she didn't know was that our Ring camera had captured everything, from her pretending to be authorized to her lying about being let in. That knock wasn't just another Karen visit. It was the start of something that would spiral far beyond our doorstep, the moment the door clicked shut behind her. I turned to Ethan. "You did great, honey. But next time, don't open the door unless I say so, okay?" He nodded, though curiosity sparkled in his eyes. "Was she really lying, Mom?" "Yes," I sighed, replaying the footage on my phone. There she was, Karen, standing confidently on our porch, claiming the HOA had sent her. I knew our HOA's procedures well. Nobody let her in. Nobody had even scheduled a visit. She was trespassing, plain and simple. When my husband, Tom, got home, I showed him the video. His reaction was predictable, equal parts amused and furious. "She's unbelievable," he muttered. "That woman's been itching to stir up trouble ever since we put in that garden bed." By evening, Karen's lie had already started to ripple through the neighborhood. She'd apparently gone door to door, complaining about our violations and saying we'd been rude to her. One neighbor texted me asking if we'd really cursed at her. I nearly dropped my phone laughing. "Enough is enough," Tom said, firing up his laptop. "We're emailing the HOA board tonight." He typed a message explaining what happened, attaching the Ring footage for good measure. We didn't embellish. Just the facts. Karen falsely claimed to represent the HOA, trespassed on our property, and spread false statements afterward. The next morning, we got a response from Mark, the actual HOA president. His message was brief but telling. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Karen is not a representative of the HOA and acted entirely on her own. We'll handle this internally. That should have been the end of it, but Karen didn't know how to quit. Later that afternoon, she cornered me at the mailbox. Her expression tight and forced. I heard you sent a video to the board, she said. I kept my tone calm. Yes, I did. You told my son the HOA let you in. That wasn't true. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I was acting on behalf of the HOA. You should be thanking me. For trespassing? I asked, raising an eyebrow. You're lucky I didn't call the police. Her face flushed crimson. This neighborhood used to have standards, she snapped before storming off. Little did she know, her lie had already set off a chain reaction. One that would expose even more than we imagined. Word spread faster than wildfire. Within days, the entire cul-de-sac was buzzing with whispers about Karen's unauthorized inspection. Half the neighbors thought it was hilarious. The other half, mostly her loyal gossip circle, claimed we were blowing things out of proportion. Tom and I kept quiet, figuring the HOA would settle things. But when a notice appeared in our mailbox that week, my stomach dropped. It was from Karen herself, typed, printed, and completely unofficial. Notice of HOA noncompliance. Your garden decor violates community aesthetic standards. Tom stared at it, speechless. She's doubling down. Apparently so. That same day, I saw her parading up and down the block, clipboard in hand, jotting down violations. It was absurd, she'd basically appointed herself neighborhood sheriff. I sent a copy of her notice to Mark. His reply was immediate. She's not authorized to issue any citations. Please disregard. But the drama didn't stop there. Karen began posting in the neighborhood Facebook group, claiming certain residents were creating hostility against HOA enforcement. Everyone knew she meant us. The comments section exploded. Some defended us, citing the ring footage that was now quietly circulating. Others took her side, insisting she was just trying to uphold community values. Then came the bombshell. One of our neighbors, Kevin, uploaded a clip from his own security camera, showing Karen sneaking around at night, measuring lawn edges with a tape measure. That video went viral locally, and the comment section roasted her mercilessly. By the weekend, the HOA had called an emergency meeting. The whole neighborhood showed up, tension thick as fog. Karen sat in the front row, chin high, glaring daggers at me. Mark cleared his throat. We've reviewed the evidence. It's clear that a resident, acting independently, misrepresented the HOA and violated multiple privacy rules. Karen interjected. I was trying to help by lying to residents and issuing fake citations. Mark shot back. You're no longer permitted to represent or contact homeowners on behalf of the HOA in any capacity. A low murmur rippled through the room. Karen stood abruptly, cheeks red, muttering about ungrateful neighbors before storming out. That night, for the first time in months, our house felt peaceful. Ethan asked, Mom, does this mean Karen won't come back? I smiled. I hope so, honey. But with Karen, you never know. And as it turned out, I was right. For a while, things were blissfully quiet. Karen avoided us, though we'd occasionally spot her peeking from behind her curtains. The tension simmered, but it seemed she'd finally backed off. Then, one evening, Tom called me outside. You need to see this. He pointed at our driveway. Someone had scattered a handful of violation notices across it, identical to the fake ones Karen had made. That's it, I said. We're installing motion lights and reporting this. The next morning, before we could even file a complaint, Ethan came running inside. Mom. Dad. Karen's talking to someone at our door again. We checked the ring feed, and there she was. Karen stood on our porch, this time with a man in a suit. She was gesturing wildly, waving papers around. I listened through the speaker. I told you, she said to the men, these people are the problem. The HOA supports me, Mark said so. The men frowned. Ma'am, I am Mark. Karen froze. What? He looked directly into the camera. And I most certainly did not authorize any of this. The silence was priceless. Karen stammered, but the rules. The rules, he interrupted. Don't include lying, trespassing, or impersonating an official. Tom stepped outside, calm as ever. Glad you stopped by. Mark. We've been documenting everything. He held up his phone, showing timestamps of every incident. Mark sighed. Thank you. We'll be issuing a cease and desist letter immediately. Karen's face drained of color. You can't do that. I'm part of this community. Mark shook his head. You are. But communities run on trust, and you've broken it. As she stormed off for the last time, Ethan whispered. Guess the HOA didn't really let her in, huh? I laughed softly. No, kiddo. You exposed her lie the first day, and the truth finally caught up. Weeks later, Karen quietly sold her house and moved away. The neighborhood felt lighter, almost celebratory. People stopped by just to thank us for standing up to her. Sometimes, justice doesn't come from shouting or fighting. It comes from letting the truth play out on camera. And in the end, it wasn't the HOA that exposed Karen. It was a 10-year-old boy who opened the door and refused to believe a lie.